I would say that there's been a select handful of Republicans that have destroyed the economy.
Every single one in my lifetime, sir.
Well, I mean, Trump passed record-breaking tax relief for the middle class. He doubled the child tax credit, right? Median household income reached the highest level in history. Poverty reached the lowest.
Whoa. Trump did not double the child tax credit.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, I mean, untrue. I mean, like I said, Pew Research is completely credible, you know, in terms of a source.
No, I'm telling you, it passed in the, like, American Rescue Act or whatever it was.
Yeah, I mean, the American Rescue Plan was absolutely horrible. I mean, Kamala Harris was the tie-breaking vote for that American
But
Rescue
you just
Plan.
praised the provision of it.
Yeah, so I said Donald Trump doubled the child tax credit, yeah.
But he didn't. That was the American Rescue Act, which you just went on to trash.
Yeah, the American Rescue Plan did not double the child tax credit.
It did. You just praised Trump for a Biden policy. 21 Vegas, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Really low. Can you turn your shit up? With me, my friend?
Yeah, I mean, I can hear you.
Sound like you're down a well or something. What are you talking on?
Yeah, let me try restarting.
That was a lot better. Did you just move closer to your mic or something?
There we go. No, I was changing my settings.
Oh, perfect. Oh, you sound amazing. What's up, my friend?
Yep. What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm great. How about yourself?
I mean, could be doing better if Trump was president, but
Why would that have you be doing better? I assume, have you voted for him or will be voting for him?
yeah, voting for him tomorrow.
Okay, why would it be better for you if Trump was president?
Sure, more money in my pocket, right? I mean, in terms of talking about the middle class and restructuring the middle class, right? No tax on tips, you know, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, right? I mean, would definitely be beneficial for me, you know, somebody who's working a little bit more than above minimum wage paying job, right? And in terms of getting over 40 hours a week and overtime not being taxed, would definitely be beneficial.
I'm not opposed to that policy. That's not a bad policy.
Yeah, sure. I mean, because Kamala Harris has the same policy.
Well, I know that she definitely proposed that the tax on. See, the thing with Trump on the tax on tips is that it was really aimed at the financial sector, so that they could, you know, use transfers each other and call them tips. And
Sure. I mean, essentially, it's a write-off.
So the Harris plan was to cap it like $100,000. Would you be for that? Because, like, why do these financial firms need to not get taxed on their money?
I would agree that they do. I would agree with her economic policy. I mean, just because I'm voting for Donald Trump, I mean, I definitely have Democratic views.
Now, this is interesting because you said,
Yep.
like, you said it was because of more money in your pocket, and then you come in here and like, oh, well, I agree with her economic policy.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I would just say in terms of who I think is going to do better, I would definitely say Donald Trump. I mean, you look at how the economy was in 2016 to 2020, and it was fantastic.
Okay, Obama was president in 2016.
Okay, so the beginning of 2017 then. I mean, if we're going to be
And like,
correct here in a
and
sense.
see, that's one of my things. Like, yeah, Obama left Trump a really good presidency, and if you look at GDP growth, like, it started to stutter under Trump. Trump's tax cuts really helped jumpstart inflation, because we were already talking about inflation in the wood and steel markets in 2019, long before COVID. So, like,
Sure. I mean, yeah, the steel companies and the car manufacturing that left under the Obama administration was horrible. But my question to you would be,
wait, whoa. Obama saved the car industry in the U.S. Manufacturing has come back under Biden.
Yeah. So what car manufacturing in particular has come back under the Biden administration?
Manufacturing overall is returning under Biden.
Yeah, I mean, in particular, like what companies though?
I'm not exactly sure. You know, I've not really looked into that. You put me on the spot.
Yeah, I mean,
on
because
that.
it would be like, yeah, it'd be like less than like 0.01%.
Where are you
In
pulling
terms of
that
like the
number from?
outsourcing, yeah, sure, on Pew Research. I mean, because in terms of like outsourcing, like I mean, you look at the Philippines, you look at China, you look at Thailand. I mean, all of these major U.S. companies are like still there.
According to the International Trade Administration, America is experiencing a new manufacturing boom. This was in October of 2023. It's a really dense article, so like it's hard for me to kind of pull
Yeah, I
from
mean,
it.
I would definitely agree that there's companies coming back, and in terms of like the recession, in terms of manufacturing that we haven't had in yeah, in decades, essentially, I would definitely say that it would be a boom.
But you're attributing like it's weird that you're attributing it to Trump when the trends were, Obama left Trump a good economy, Trump wrecked the economy, and then Biden kind of guided us out of COVID and everything. There's been many studies that show that the economy does better under Democrats. And in my lifetime, the Republicans have wrecked it every time they've been in charge.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I would say that there's been a select handful of Republicans that have destroyed the economy.
Every
But in
single
terms
one
of
in my lifetime, sir.
well, I mean, Trump passed record-breaking tax relief for the middle class. He doubled the child tax credit, right? Median household income reached the highest level in history. Poverty reached the
Whoa, whoa,
lowest
whoa, whoa.
in
Trump did
history.
not double the child tax credit.
I mean, he did. I mean, this is a fact, right? I mean, Pew Research has done multiple
No,
articles on
that's
this in
that
terms of
happened in
fact-checking.
the whatever the first Biden omnibus was.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, I mean, untrue. I mean, like I said, Pew Research is completely credible, in terms of a source.
I'm telling you, it passed in the like American Rescue Act or whatever it was.
Yeah, I mean, the American Rescue Plan was absolutely horrible. I mean, Kamala Harris was the tie-breaking vote for that American
But you
Rescue
just
Plan.
praised the provision of it to me. It was the
Yeah, I mean,
child tax credit.
yeah, so I said Donald Trump doubled the child tax credit, yeah.
But he didn't. That was the American Rescue Act, which you just went on to trash.
Yeah, the American Rescue Plan did not double the child tax credit.
It did.
So in terms of like what the American Rescue Plan really did, I think that it's important to talk about it. Do you know who Byron Donalds is in particular? Do you know?
Byron Donalds is a dumb fuck.
But I mean, he is a central role in what the American Rescue Plan was in terms of that. I mean, just because I mean he's a Republican, I mean I don't think that we should discredit it in its entirety.
The advance payments of the child tax credit was in 2021. You just praised Trump for a Biden policy.
Yeah, I mean, again, I mean it's untrue.
What's untrue?
Yeah, so when Joe Biden wanted to do the American Rescue Plan, and again Kamala Harris was the tie-breaking vote in the U.S. Senate, she broke the tie that started the inflation that hurt so many peoples. Right, Larry Summers wrote an op-ed in 2021. Right, Larry Summers was the Treasury Secretary.
I don't trust Larry Summers with anything.
Well,
Dude,
I mean, he
dude was a finance bro,
advisor.
like Goldman Sachs or something. Do we think
Well, I mean, he's
Goldman
definitely
Sachs
credible. I
knows
mean,
what's best for the? We know that Goldman Sachs knows what's best for rich fat cats, right?
I mean, sure, I would agree, but in terms of credibility,
I
right,
don't
mean,
find Larry Summers to be
ownership of-
credible.
Well, I mean, he was the economic advisor to Barack Obama. I mean,
Don't give a. I think him being the economic advisor to Barack Obama was the reason why Obama did the giveaway to the banks instead of putting money into the hands of the people like he should have, making the people solvent and letting them pay the banks, as opposed to just giving away money to the banks.
Oh, okay, I mean, but in terms of credibility, like Byron Donalds was.
Byron Donalds doesn't have credibility with me. Larry
But
Summers
he was
doesn't have
in-
credibility with me.
But okay, Byron Donalds was in the budget committee when they brought the bill, the American Rescue Plan in particular.
Back to the fact that you attributed a Biden policy to Trump.
The American Rescue Plan has no ties to the Trump administration.
The child tax credit was Biden.
So to say that under the Biden-Harris administration, the child tax credit has doubled, I mean, it's definitely a fallacy. It's definitely not true. In terms of looking at
You don't know what fallacies are, my friend. They're like names
sure.
to the fallacies.
Yeah, so it's definitely a fallacy in terms of saying that's something that's not true. I mean, it's definitely not true.
I just looked it up and told you it was in 2021. Who was president in 2021? That was Joe Biden, right?
Yeah, I mean, of course.
It happened in you trashed the legislation that actually passed the child tax credit that you praised Trump for.
Yeah, I mean, so we're talking about from 2017 to 2020.
The child tax credit wasn't Trump in 2017, and let me tell you, he capped how many deductions I could take as a contractor. I used to get a tax return. I used to get like anywhere from $700 to $1,000 back, cover different expenses that I had. I'm lucky if I break even now under the Trump tax plan. So thank you for that, brother.
Well, we're not under the Donald Trump tax plan.
Yeah, we are.
So would you agree that every state makes their own tax policies and tax codes?
I'm talking about my federal income tax.
Yeah,
I'm well aware that different states have different tax policies because the state and federal are. How old are you? Have you ever even filed your taxes?
Yeah, I mean, I'm 22. I filed my taxes multiple times. Yeah.
Okay. So like you file your state and federal. Like I know the difference between the two. I've been doing it for fucking 25 years.
Of course, we know that the federal income tax stays the same.
Yeah, got rid of the personal deduction.
So we need to get rid of personal deductions.
No, he got rid of the personal deduction, and like it caused the middle class's taxes to go up.
It caused them to go up, but I made more on my tax returns.
What?
Yeah, so I mean, if it doesn't. I mean, I made more on my tax returns than what I did under the
brother. Like, didn't you? You were talking about Pew Research. Go look at what Pew Research said about the benefits of the Trump tax policy all going to the top 10%.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it definitely benefited the U.S. economy in terms of going to the top.
No, it didn't. It helped contribute to the economy crashing.
Okay, so when you give more money to people who are already rich, I mean, these people are employing.
This is called trickle-down economics, and people used to mock it for being voodoo economics. You give money to the rich, they hoard it. It doesn't trickle down.
I mean, it did though, right? You see more businesses giving out bonuses, right? You've seen people making more money.
Oh,
right. I mean, because
we have seen wages skyrocket post-COVID thanks to partially Biden policy, but also due to many factors like older people leaving the workforce post-COVID. People under 40 had seen their wages stagnate. After COVID, things have actually like boosted up for us. I've had several friends be able to buy a house when like that was unattainable before COVID. So
I mean, under the Trump administration, the average medium in terms of buying a house was $75,000. Now it's $150,000.
Okay, and
which means it would be more
the thing that I hate about like right wingers is they think like prices just started going up.
Well, no,
as if this hasn't been a thing my entire adult life.
Sure, but
and also that number sounds wildly off.
Sure, but in terms of, I mean, it's not. But in terms of like inflation.
Well, one, you have to tell me which market it's in, because if you're talking about like San Diego or something, yeah, that might have skyrocketed.
So that's just an average across the United States, right? The average was 75. Now the average is 150.
That could be explained by a lot more high-end housing being built.
I mean, it's one simple thing. It has to do with inflation, right? When you print money that you don't have, which
I agree. Hold on. You said print money that you don't have. Fundamentally don't understand money then.
Yeah, so inflation's caused by printing money.
I agree with that, and a lot of people in my chat won't agree with that. But we need to back up. The country is in debt, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Who are we in debt to?
Many countries.
No.
What do you mean? No, I mean we're obviously in
No.
debt to many countries, right?
You've never looked it up. You have no idea who we're in debt to.
So I mean, are you just saying that we're only in debt to, in particular, China?
No. I'm saying we're in debt to ourselves. The
No,
U.S.
I
debt.
would agree with that.
No. The U.S. debt is our money supply. That's where money comes from.
Sure, I would agree.
There's no agreeing. It's just how it works. Like China owns like 7%, 8% of our bonds or something. Like it's a minuscule amount. The majority of our debt, something like 80-something percent, is held by us, the U.S. taxpayer.
Yeah, I mean that's true. I like.
Yes,
I
that's true.
agree.
Yes,
But in terms of
because we have a
influx
fiat
and-
currency, because we have a fractured reserve banking system.
Sure, I mean I agree. I think the Federal Reserve System is.
There's no. Hold on, I said fractured reserve banking system. That's not the Federal Reserve. That's two different things.
Yeah, I thought you said the Federal Reserve, but I mean in
I said
terms of
fractured
the
reserve
influx-
banking. That's what our banking system is called.
Sure, but in terms of the influx of printing money that we see under the Biden-Harris administration, that's causing the inflation and why prices are high, disregarding price gouging. in general.
Whoa! Inflation has returned under 3%.
Quote unquote.
No, there's no quote unquote. That's just the number.
Sure, I would agree that it's a fact that sources are claiming, but it's essentially untrue.
You don't just get to say, "Oh no, that's untrue." You can't point to numbers during Trump and say that that's a fact, and then say like, "Oh no, but these numbers are untrue." And you were talking about fallacies earlier.
Okay, so I mean now, okay, so then this will be my argument. Now they're low. Okay, so then why were they high for 3 years?
Well, first of all, you realize the entire world experienced inflation, correct?
Sure.
Did you know that we handled it pretty well? We were in the middle of the pack. Some countries had it a lot worse. England's still kind of dealing with it.
In terms of like what year in particular?
Post-COVID, we had a pandemic.
Okay.
There was a supply chain shock, right?
Yeah, sure. I mean, people, these companies.
For a good portion of the summer, there were like shipping containers that were over in China that couldn't get here. There were a disconnect between the goods and how they flow, but we've gotten all of that work back out. That was some of the inflation, and then a good portion of what you're calling inflation was just companies jacking up the prices because they could.
No, I mean, a good part of the inflation right now is, I mean, in what was for the past 3 years, to say, I mean, quote unquote, it's apparently good now. I mean, for the past 3 years, it obviously hasn't been. I mean, when you print money and you're sending billions of dollars and millions of dollars to aid foreign countries, and it's money that we don't.
Brother,
have
you're just
anything
repeating
necessary.
right-wing talk. This is every AM right-wing radio. You don't understand how our money supply works. You don't understand what the Federal Reserve does, and yet you're trying to have opinions on things you don't really know about. Can you grant me that might be possible?
No, I mean, because you can't say that it's not true when you print money, which causes inflation.
No, I agree.
So, I mean, when you're sending billions of dollars that we don't have allocated in funds, essentially, I mean, just because it goes through and it's approved, I mean, they still have to pull that money from somewhere. It's
Well, I
money that
mean,
we
what
don't have.
aid are you talking about?
Yeah, so I mean, when you look at the aid to Ukraine, you look at the aid to Palestine, you look at the aid to Lebanon.
The aid to
right, the millions of
Palestine.
dollars. Yeah, so I mean,
My
you look at
God,
all
my
this.
friend.
So I mean, if you're denying that we're sending aid to Palestine,
We're
I
not
mean,
sending near
we're also
enough
sending
aid to
Israel as
Palestine.
well.
Why did you mention aid to Palestine and not
mentioning aid to-
not the weapons we send to Israel? Do you know the disproportion with that one?
Yeah, I mean, so I would also say the weapons that we send to Ukraine and Israel is a positive for the U.S. economy.
It's a positive for a certain sector of the U.S. economy. Defense contractors, Wall Street does pretty good.
But in terms of like dollar bills, yeah, that definitely hurts the U.S. economy. I mean, we want taxpayers to pay more because you're allocating funds that we don't have. Is definitely going to be hurting the U.S.
I don't
economy.
want taxpayer. Well, first of all, like we pay some of the lowest taxes in the world,
Sure, I mean, but
in the industrialized world.
for the past 3 years, taxes were increased because of the spending to foreign
Our
countries.
taxes have not. No. We're still under the 2017 Trump tax policy. There's been no increase in taxes. The child tax credit expired because the Republicans wouldn't renew it.
So, I mean, essentially, we aren't under the Trump tax plan like everybody wants to believe that we are. Again, the federal income tax is, I mean, it always stays the same. But in terms of just because you live in a predominant blue state, right, and your taxes essentially haven't changed, I mean, it is not true. I mean, you look at the
The
predominant.
fuck are you
red
talking
states,
about,
taxes have
dude?
increased.
What
I mean, it's
what
true.
what
I mean,
tax policy has Congress passed since 2017?
In regards
I hate to let you. This is probably going to blow your mind. We're still operating under a Trump budget. They have done nothing but pass continuing resolutions the entire time the Democrats have been in office.
In regards to what in particular?
The budget.
So it's not true. I mean, you look at FEMA in particular; they've received more funding. I mean,
Well, yeah, supplemental funding, brother. You don't know how anything works. I just don't.
So, I mean,
we are still under the
allocated.
Trump budget because they've been passing continuing resolutions. You know when they talk about the omnibus bill and the Republicans want to shut down the government, that's what they're trying to pass a budget, and they always just end up passing a continuing resolution. We're under like Trump's budget. We're still under Trump's tax plan. You don't understand how anything works.
If we were under Trump's
and
budget,
brother,
then
like
they would
you
have
were,
allocated
you
more
were.
funding.
So that was 7 years ago when that was passed. You said you're 20. You were 15 at the time. Holy shit, my friend. And you're trying to talk to somebody with a degree in political philosophy who has spent 25 years covering this shit, and you're trying to tell me I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I don't need a college education to do my own research on a free education I can get for $75.
Oh yeah. All right-wing dumb fucks are like, I do my own research.
Well, I mean, so you can get the same education for 75 cents in late fees at a library.
That's not true. Because one of the reasons why Republicans demonize education so much is because they don't want you to go and get college tends to provide two things: a well-rounded liberal education, which teaches you critical thinking skills, and two, it exposes you to different people and different cultures. So that's why fucking Republicans hate it.
No, I mean, essentially over 50% of college students that graduate with their degree don't even use their degree. So, I mean, you're essentially getting yourself into debt that you're going to spend the 20 plus years paying off essentially for nothing.
That's an argument for the country to fund education, not an argument against education.
I mean, it definitely is. I mean, in terms of like college campuses, like they're more liberal oriented.
You perceive them as liberal, so you think that they aren't useful. Do you see your fallacies here, my friend?
Okay, so like, can you name me a non-liberal college campus?
Well, academics tend to be liberal because facts tend to be liberal.
In
like
terms of what facts? I mean, because
you don't live in reality. Like earlier, you praised a Biden policy as a Trump policy. I told you the bill it was passed in, and you trashed the bill of the policy that you were just praising. You live in an alternate reality.
Okay, so when was the American Rescue Plan signed and enacted?
2021.
Okay, so was Trump in office?
No.
Exactly. So
that's when the child tax credit was expanded.
Sure, I would agree that it was expanded under the Biden-Harris administration, but in terms of doubling the child tax credit, Donald Trump did do that.
No, he didn't.
And it wasn't because of the American Rescue Plan.
My friend. Okay. What do you think? What do you think crime is like in the country? Is crime up or down?
Crime's definitely up.
Crime is at historic lows, my friend.
Okay, so my counter argument would be, so police officers and whatever it may be, like predominant just the criminal justice system in general, right, isn't taking on as many cases. I mean, that's a fact.
Are you
Right?
telling me
The
they're
criminal
not
justice system is
prosecuting
at-
murders? Murders are down
So-
like to historic levels. Are you telling me they're not prosecuting murders?
So what I'm telling you is that they're not prosecuting at the rate that they were 3, 4, 5
Murder.
years ago. I mean, it's true, right? I mean, it's not that saying that they're not still doing it, but
Murder.
they're not doing it at the rate that they were before.
They're cooking the books to help Joe Biden, is what you're telling me. You live in a fantasy world, dude.
Okay, so it's true though. They're prosecuting at the lowest rate they ever have in U.S. history.
You're telling me
in
they're
terms of all crime.
what does that mean?
all
They're
crime.
prosecuting at a lower rate. I'm talking about
Yeah,
murder
because they're not seeing
statistics.
as many cases. It's even the same thing for the
You're
Supreme Court.
telling
The
me
Supreme Court is
prosecutors
not
aren't
seeing
bringing as many murder
they used to.
cases. I'm specifically
I'm
saying
all
murder.
cases. All cases.
No, I'm
And it's
saying
the same
murder.
thing. Yes, for murders.
Murders are at historically low levels.
I'm not saying that they're at a historical level. I'm saying they're prosecuting them.
They are at historical low. What do you mean they're prosecuting them? You're telling me that prosecutors are prosecuting murder cases. You're insane.
No, what I'm saying is when you're.
And what evidence do you have for this?
Yeah, sure. The American Crime Institute.
Said what?
Will
And
definitely.
who the fuck is the American Crime Institute? Is it some cop organization?
I mean, I can give you a different source if you want me to. I can put a link. in
A
the
source
chat
for
you.
what? I'm telling you that murders are at historically low levels. That is a fact. You can
definitely.
look it up.
Oh, okay. So what about crime that goes unreported?
Do you think
Because
murders
the
go
thing is-
unreported?
Absolutely. So
Do you think murders go unreported?
Yeah, there's definitely murders that are unsolved that go
Unsolved and unreported are different things.
So, I mean, how do you know that a murder would happen unless you don't discover a body or that you know for a fact that it's been a murder? I mean, because to essentially say that, well, I mean, these cases can go on for years.
Well, if you don't have a body, you probably have a family member that has reported them missing. I assure you. I'm telling you, there's no way that like this argument that they're not prosecuting murder is possible. That's why I'm specifically focusing on murder statistics. So you can't even admit that murder is down at historically low levels, even though you can look it up and see it with your you can't admit it because you have a political fucking bias, my friend.
So what source then? What source claims that
the FBI, the DOJ, they just released the numbers a few months ago.
In regards to like what years historically?
Last year, my friend, they released numbers for 2023. Murders at historically low levels. The NYPD says violent crime at historically low levels. Can you bring yourself to admit that?
Sure,
you said crime was up, but it is down.
So, I mean, you're referencing 2023. It's 2024. I mean, can we also reference 2022?
Do you know when crime was the highest in this country?
In regards to a specific administration or just a year in general?
No, just a year in general.
I'm not sure in particular, no.
It was way, way higher in the 70s and 80s.
I could see that, sure.
Like leaps and bounds higher. So I keep telling you, it's at historically low levels. Oh, did it peak in the 90s? Okay, it shot down during the 90s. And we have been at historically low levels for like the last 25 years.
I mean, so in terms of historically...
It spiked a little bit during COVID, and now we're back down to historically low levels.
Yeah, I mean, so I would agree that when you say historically, I mean, obviously the discrepancy is going to be what was going on at the time. But in particular, too, there's essentially nothing going on. I mean, when you look at what's happening in Chicago...
There's nothing going on in your head, my friend.
I mean, so violence...
You're not critically thinking about this. Why can't you see?
Yeah, I mean, to blindly discredit the fact that gang violence and the unaliving and the murdering of people in Chicago and predominantly,
brother, let me tell you a
territories.
fact. Hold on, let me tell you a fact that's going to blow your mind. You've been listening to too much right-wing media. Let me tell you this fact. It's going to blow you the fuck away. Chicago doesn't even rank in the top 20 cities for murder. Well, it is one of the safest big cities in the world.
I agree. I never said it was the highest.
You brought up Chicago, so you would, because you've been listening to like shit like Fox News tell you that there's gang wars, that you walk out on the street in Chicago, you're gonna get shot. Not even in the top 20 most dangerous cities in the country.
Sure. So when I bring up Chicago,
And for it to be the third largest, I believe, the third largest city in the country, that's insane that it's not even in the top 20. That's how safe Chicago is. So why would you throw out gang violence in Chicago? Because you've been programmed by propaganda, my friend.
So I mean, I never said again. I mean, you're cherry picking in particular.
No, you said Chicago,
I'm not
motherfucker.
arguing.
I didn't. That's not cherry picking.
Yeah, so I said Chicago. I never said that it was a high crime rate. I'm bringing up Chicago because, I mean, there are gangs. I mean, the predominant gangs there in particular are extremely
Okay,
violent.
cool.
I mean,
There's
they're
crime in
violent.
places, but crime is at historically low levels now, and you didn't know that. You didn't know this basic fact because you've been consuming right-wing media, and it's fucking warped your head. Let me give you another one, man. Do you think that Joe Biden has killed the oil industry?
Absolutely.
You think he's killed the oil industry?
I mean, when you look at OPEC, sure, the president doesn't control gas prices. But in terms of, like, how much you drill, I mean, sure, we're drilling at a more than what we have historically, right?
We are producing more oil and natural gas than any country in the history of the planet.
Sure. Yeah, I agree.
You just said he destroyed the oil industry.
Yeah, but again, right, in terms of, like, where you're out.
In terms of we're producing more oil and natural gas than any country in the history of the planet right now.
Yeah, there's a difference, right? You can produce as much as you want, but when you're not using your own oil reserves in terms of OPEC in particular, or where you're outsourcing your oil from.
Brother, that's it. You're
gas prices are so high.
You're upset about capitalism because oil companies, they drill and then they sell it on the world market. That's capitalism that you're upset with, not any kind of Joe Biden policy.
No, because
you don't understand how anything works.
No, because under the Donald Trump administration, we used our oil reserves, which was the reason why gas
What oil
prices were so
oil reserves did we? What are you talking about?
Yes, I mean, do you know that the United States has oil reserves that we can use? We could produce our own oil and use our own gas, right?
We produce more oil now than any country in the history of the world ever.
Yes. So why are we not using those oil reserves?
Because they sell it on the open market, and that's the way it's always been. It was the way it was under Trump.
No, they're not selling it on the open market. What they're doing is they're outsourcing. We haven't used any of those oil reserves.
You don't know how anything works, my friend, and they've redeemed brother. It's been nice talking to you, but they've redeemed the hang up on you.
You're sitting here and saying that we're using these oil reserves when we're not. We're still outsourcing our oil from Middle East countries. Just because we're producing more doesn't mean anything. It's essentially untrue. You can't just pull it out of the ether. I mean,
you
under the
don't know how the markets work.
Markets have nothing. Okay, so again, yeah, I would agree. When you outsource your oil from other countries, right, you're going to have to up the price. That's why gas prices are so high. But if you use your oil reserves in the United States, it doesn't cost much for transportation, right? You're not paying the tariffs on it.
Brother,
so
I am for nationalizing the oil industry and us using our own oil and not selling it on the open market. You're not for that. Trump's not for that. Republicans aren't for that.
We shouldn't sell our oil, and we shouldn't.
I think the population of the United States should own our oil supply, don't you?
I would agree that we should own it.
That's communism. Thank you, my friend. I just converted you to communism. Have a fantastic evening. Do not vote for Trump tomorrow. Vote for Harris, I assure you.
I mean, in terms of, like, who cares more about the American people? I mean, in terms of...
You think Trump gives it... Trump, the billionaire con man, the grifter, you think he cares about the American people? Are you fucking stupid?
Yeah, absolutely. The First
That's
Step Act was
dumb.
fantastic for the African American community in particular.
Oh my God, are you black?
Obama. But my family is. I mean, but in
Your
terms of Obama
family
having eight
is.
years, so in
Keep the
terms
fucking
of
black community's name. Like, don't fucking bring them up to make your fucking point. You do not
yeah,
speak
so in
for
terms
them.
of
You will get
Obama having
your
eight,
white boy ass slapped.
Obama
Man,
had 8
they
years to get it
redeemed the
done.
hang up on you. I gotta get out of here.
I mean, Obama had 8 years to get it done. He didn't get it done.
Get what
Biden had a
done?
lot to do. Just because you give more funding to HBCUs doesn't mean you care more about the African American community. When Obama says that it wouldn't be acceptable for African Americans to vote for Kamala Harris, is essentially, in my opinion, discriminatory to that race in particular.
You
It doesn't
don't
make the
speak for
Democratic Party
them.
sway.
Don't talk for the African American community. That's insane, my friend.
Well, why can't a person of any particular color be an advocate for a particular group?
It's not your place to say what black people should get offended over, and it's really fucking racist of you to do so. Not see that.
So I mean, they should definitely get offended over somebody that's
You
blatantly
have
because of your
no,
color of
you
race,
have no,
because of your color of race.
brother. It is
That's what he
not
was
your
saying. Your color of
place
race, you
to
have
tell.
vote this certain way.
Not your place to tell anybody how to feel about anything. Why don't you mind your own fucking business?
Right. I mean, again, that's essentially what the Democratic Party is, right? I mean, we have all these fallacies, in particular LGBTQ rights
Don't use that
and
word. You
women's
have no
rights.
clue what fallacy means.
I mean, I definitely do. It's something that's essentially non-true.
A fallacy is a
sit here and
violation of the
say-
rules of logic. If you say fallacy, I'm going to ask you to tell me what rule somebody violated, and you need to name it. They all have names. Because it pisses me off when people use that fucking word and they get it wrong. People like you use fucking logic. You don't know what it means. Pisses me off.
Well, I think that you're upset. I mean, and you want to end the argument because what's happening is there's a clear.
No, I've kept you on. They
terms of-
redeemed the hang up on you like fucking 5 minutes ago, and I'm still arguing. I love
Okay, so
this
would you-
shit.
So would you say that Trump's a fascist?
His chief of staff, a decorated general in the U.S. military, says he's a fascist. What do you have to say to that?
So you're saying yes?
I didn't say. I said his chief of staff, General Kelly.
I'm asking you if you believe it.
They're redeeming it again. What do you have to say to his chief? I mean, wouldn't a decorated general who served as his chief of staff know better than I? So if he says it, why would you vote for the motherfucker?
Yeah, I would vote for him in terms of when we talk about military presence and the 16 Medal of Honor recipients that endorsed Donald Trump, right?
Brother, do you not know about like the fucking 100 or something generals that came out against him? Yes, they're making me hang up on you. You're stupid, my friend. Have a good night.
All right. Well, I mean, if I'm stupid, you're the one.
Oh man, I would like to heard what he said. That was painful. Oh my god.